Welcome, everyone. You have now entered the cosmic radio receptors of KCIW 100.7 FM, located just a few miles north of the California border in lovely coastal sunny Brookings in Oregon. Thank you for tuning into this week's interesting program once again. I'm Dr. Gigi, and my host is co-host, I should say, is always Jacques Kepner. How are you today, Jacques?
Greetings, everyone, and Dr. Reed. Welcome to the Doc and Jacques Radio Variety Show. Special thanks to Ray Simon and Tony Stoddard, who are monitoring the flight deck of the enterprising starship of KCIW, as they've been doing for the entire time of our show, right? About 2.5, or going on 3 years, somewhere in that. Special thanks to KCIW founder and finishing sound engineer, you know him best as Tom Bozak, and of course, Linda Bozak. I know you're out there listening. Thank you for your support and help. You're hearing this live syndicated show right now on KCIW in Brookings, Oregon. That said, the same syndicated show will be rebroadcast in exactly 1 week from now, each and every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Get up early for that, to our lovely friends down in coastal Eureka and Arcata. And then later, that's on KZZH 96.7, just so I know. Mm-hmm. And then at KFUG in Crescent City, and that'll be at 1 o'clock, as usual. So Dr. Gigi and I have your coasts covered. All right. In addition, no, I'm not going to. We'll skip that. We're just going to go right into MDGG.
Okay, but we want to say that possibly there are some internet or waves,
Thank you.
interwebs.
Yes, there was a pop
going on
today with Beacon Broadband, and they have called us and said there may be some issues with keeping this show
going throughout.
Yeah,
so
consistent.
If there's some fallout,
it's not your radio, it's not your computer, it is us. But it will be rebroadcast immediately as a podcast after the show, and so you can always go back and get past shows or listen live on kciw.org. Okay, it's that time when good medicine and health tips are colorfully presented by my German-American, multi-patent holding medical doctor, scientist, and university professor, who is now a syndicated broadcaster. And of course, she's a columnist in The Triplicate and The Pilot, right?
Yeah.
And did I mention an artist? Well, there's so much more I could tell you about Dr. Gudrun or Gigi Reed. Okay, Doc. What medical marvels do you have for us today on this week's health segment of MDGG?
Well, today I chose to talk about one of the blood tests that we are always ordering. It's called the CBC, or Complete Blood Count.
Is that the panel?
That's one of the panels.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
So some patients think that we only look at the blood tests for no real reason. So I want to highlight one of those real reasons. We look at this one blood test.
Speaking of that, the only time, doctor, I ever got an A+ was on my blood test. Darn it.
So you're A positive?
Yeah. Oh, is that what it's supposed to mean? Okay. I know. I'm just testing you, Doc. Okay.
Okay, so the CBC gives the numbers about all the cells or cell fragments in the blood. For example, there are 7 or so numbers that characterize the red blood cells. The red blood cells contain the hemoglobin, which hold the iron, which hold the oxygen that we breathe in for all of our cells. And if we're low in the number of the red blood cells or we have low hemoglobin, we are diagnosed with anemia.
That's anemia, low blood count, red blood
cells,
okay.
or low hemoglobin.
Interesting. I had my blood tested recently, and everything came back negative. So the first thing I did was fire my drug deal. Got a little bit of that. Okay.
So speaking of anemia, there is microcytic anemia, where those red blood cells are littler than normal. So they're less than 80 units, and which is on the marker of MCV.
So it actually says that MCV?
MCV is 80 or less than 80 or more than 80. It gives the number, and that's the medium corpuscular volume. So we're looking at that.
Sounds kind of technical, Doc.
Well, that's just a name.
Okay.
In most cases, that is due because of iron deficiency. So then we're looking at another marker in the CBC called the RDW, or radius distribution width. So this goes a little bit maybe too much in your math, but RDW is a measure of how the cell sizes differ amongst the red blood cells.
Okay.
So in iron deficiency anemia, the cells differ a lot because if there is no iron, then they can't make the hemoglobin. So the cells, when we're making the cells, we're getting all frantic and kicking out the cells before they're ready. So they're larger before they're ready. So then we have larger and smaller cells. So the distribution width of the radius is large. So that kind of narrows down, you probably need iron.
And that's that's nothing to do with
No,
hemophilia. Okay.
no. Are you reading my stuff?
Yeah,
Is that
no,
what
no.
you're doing?
Like blood, like blood, I believe that chocolate is vital for the survival of the human species.
Why
Do you want me to
so?
give you an example?
Yeah.
Dinosaurs didn't have chocolate. And look what happened to them.
So hemophilia is
Where are
a genetic disease where the cells are also little. But there, the RDW is normal. So good point.
Okay.
All right. So if your cells, the red blood cells, are huge, then maybe you have vitamin B12 deficiency or you abuse alcohol. If they are normocytic, like the cells are normal in size, then you might have something called anemia of chronic disease, which itself can have multiple causes. For example, kidney disease, blood loss otherwise. So there's a lot of different things.
Can you tell if somebody has a possibly a kidney tumor by the blood cell test?
Yes, but not by the red blood cells. Well, sort of. If the kidneys don't function, they don't make a hormone that is called erythropoietin that then goes to the bone marrow to tell them to make more red blood cells.
Yeah.
So
you love
we can
kidneys.
kind of go that way.
I know you love kidneys. That's your
Yeah.
favorite, right?
Favorite.
Recently, I started going to Plastic Surgery Anonymous. I found it's a great place to meet new faces. Okay, what else, Doc?
Okay, we're interested in the number. We're all still just talking red blood cells, right? How many red blood cells they are and if you have a little of that, little red blood cells, then you have anemia. But if you spin the blood down and we go with a percentage, how many cells there are in that percentage, then that is the hematocrit. So we're looking at the hematocrit. We're also looking at what the percentage of the hemoglobin is in each cell and in the hematocrit. So there's a lot of numbers that we kind of triangulate a problem with.
Triangulate. I like that. That's a
So
great word.
if we make a lot of red blood cells, then we might have another issue. We might have some kind of a tumor or a cancer that causes that.
Ooh. What about white cells?
Too many white cells. So this is interesting too because there's about 5 white cells, right? If we have a lot of white cells, then we're looking, which of the white cells is high? If we talk about we have a lot of neutrophils, then we think it might be a bacterial infection.
Okay, wait a minute. Neutrophils are what?
One of the white cells.
Okay.
They're staining with a neutral stain. So those are the neutrophils. Then we have the leukocytes. They're usually increased with viral infections. Then we have the eosinophils. They stain with the red dye eosin, if you want to know what they're called for. Yeah. Then we have allergies. And if we have monocytes, then we have some other kind of infections.
Can any of these lead to a heart attack? Because the worst time to have a heart attack is while playing charades, doctor.
Okay. No, but there is one more thing that
please.
Somehow didn't make it in my little write-up here. There are the platelets.
Yeah.
The platelets are actually not cells. They're cell fragments. And since you're saying heart attack, if we make a lot of those, then we clot the blood much faster. And so then they're used for blood clotting, and then we can have a heart attack because of that. If we have too little, then we might have a bleeding issue, and we might bleed by just bonking the hand on something.
That's what
like some
with
of
my
us
arm.
do. Yeah.
Through my shirt, long sleeve shirt, I just scraped up against the door. Right? And it's because I took 2 extra strength.
That's true for your headaches.
Last week,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
which is rare for me. Are we about there, Doctor?
Yeah.
Okay, I wake up Dr. Gigi every night at exactly 12:59 a.m.
Why?
That's when we have our one-to-one talk. Okay. Thank you very much for that, Gigi. All right, I have a prologue here. Today on the Doc and Jacques Radio Variety Show, we turn our attention to something that shapes not just what we see, but how we feel about where we live in the form of, quote, public art, end quote. In a coastal region and place like Brookings, Oregon, and beyond, where the coastline offers its own breathtaking beauty, art has the power to deepen that connection and to tell environmental and human stories. These stories are often imprinted on physical things and spaces that can help all of us to reflect who we are as a community. Joining us today in the studio is Ron Schnearson and Tim Rundel, the chairs, or I think, well, at least Ron is the chair of the BPAC, which is known as the Brookings Public Art Collaboration. And this nonprofit organization is working to bring sculpture and murals and creative expression into the heart of our town and beyond. Their vision is simple but ambitious: to weave art into the everyday life of Brookings, making it accessible, inspiring, and lasting. Ron has been described, I believe you could correct me later on this, but the Brookings City Council as a champion of the public art scene. That title speaks to more than just enthusiasm. It reflects a deep commitment to building something meaningful from the ground up.
That's right, Jacques. BPAC.
BPAC, which he had never heard of before, but he thinks
you made
it's
a good,
good, right? It's good.
Liking it. I like
It's good,
BPAC.
BPAC. Yeah, it sounds kind of like NATO.
It's growing on me real quick.
There we go. Perfect.
It's still a young organization, and with that comes both opportunity and challenge. And luckily, we have Tim Rundel here, who is taking on part of the challenge because he's from the city of Brookings, and there's
City
a
manager.
collaboration, city manager collaboration, from fundraising and recruiting volunteers to coordinating artists and navigating public spaces. Ron and his team are laying the foundation for a cultural legacy that will shape our lovely region for many years to come. Public art doesn't happen by accident.
That's true. Public art does not happen by
Right?
accident, right?
It takes vision, persistence, and a willingness to bring people together around a shared idea. It takes a community to invest, not only financially, but emotionally, in creativity, identity, and in the public spaces we all share.
Amen.
Today, we'll talk with Ron and Tim about that journey, what inspired them to take on this role.
And we'll find out what BPAC hopes to achieve and how residents, like many of you listening, can become part of this noble, growing movement. So, whether you're an artist, a supporter of the arts, or someone who cares about the future of Brookings, this is a conversation about possibility and about what happens when a community decides to create something beautiful together. With that said, Dr. Gigi Reed and I wish to give a big welcome to Ron Schnearson and Tim Rundel to the Doc and Jacques Show. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for coming. Very cool.
And thank you for that wonderful lead-in. Now I'm
Right?
very impressed.
He's the English major.
You definitely described us and our mission, I think, better than I could. That was
All right.
very lofty.
Cool. Thank you. I'm humbled. That's very nice.
Okay, Ron, we'll start with you. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in wonderful Hollywood, California. Grew up in Los Angeles area, Orange County. And just, typical Southern California kid.
And what brought you here then? How long ago?
Oh, well, I got here about 5 years ago. I think that's the sweet spot.
Yeah,
Which
right. We
everyone-
got here same
I
time.
mean,
about.
5 years, maybe a COVID escape. But, we were always looking for, the right place to make our escape from Southern California and, really the big city.
Right.
And we had some family that was coming up here regularly, and my wife came to visit and just gave me a call and said, this place is amazing. We need to check this out a little further. So
very
here we
cool.
are.
Very
Right.
common story, right?
Yeah,
Everybody loves it.
Tim,
Yeah.
how about you? Where were you born and raised? And
Well-
what got you here?
I was born and raised in Northwest Arkansas,
Woo.
in the Boston Mountains of the Ozarks.
Nice.
And up until junior high, then I moved to Oklahoma, and that's where I stayed for quite a number of years. And what brought me here was the job. And I had visited Brookings several times before I even applied for the job. And I always, thought to myself, if if there's ever an opportunity that comes available here in Brookings, I certainly
You're
would.
going to jump on it. Yeah.
Exactly. And, 5 years later, one did, or no, actually not 5 years, 4 years later, one did. And here I am.
Right on.
So were you a city manager of sorts?
Yeah, I've been a city manager. I've managed 2 cities in Oklahoma, 2 cities in California, and this is my last stop. So
Last rodeo.
my last rodeo. Yeah, I want to finish my career here, finish strong,
Yeah.
and enjoy the fruits of my labor and enjoy still serving in the community, but in a capacity where it's a little bit more lax than what I got right now. So,
Yeah.
Right on.
We're lucky to have you.
oh,
That's
thank
for
you,
sure.
thank you.
Ron, what does BPAC stand for? The acronym that we put together or here.
Well, we're basically with the Brookings Public Art Collaborative. We're collaborating with the city. So this is a collaboration of people that are employed by the city and those that are not. And we're somewhat informal. I think you called us a nonprofit. We're really just a collaborative, not a nonprofit. But, we have a good cross-section of the community that we put together. Earlier you described me as the champion of public art. And, I'd like to describe a little bit about kind of, some of the earlier days,
Yeah.
of how this came about. After, initially having this kind of inspiration that, I wanted to take on public art for the community, I thought a great place to start, and I highly recommend people do this more, is go to the city council meeting and go talk to the city council. And, you could fill out a little form, you get 5 minutes, and you can say your piece.
I just filled that out. Coming up, I think,
Yeah,
the
right.
21st. I'm going to do that. Interesting.
Wonderful.
First time.
Yeah, so I thought, you know what? I'm going to tell them what they need to do. They need to get us some some public art, and here's why. And there's all these benefits that, we'll talk about of having public art. And it was very well received. And, Phoebe Pareda, who's our current mayor, she was city councilwoman at the time. She came up to me afterwards and we started talking, and she, let me know that she really wanted to see this happen. And, she kind of educated me on how things are done. Things like this, if you want to see it happen, you really got to be the champion. And, it was a little disappointing because I really wanted to just lob it over the fence and have them run with it. But, I understood. I need to champion this if I want to see it happen. So I put together a team. And the team is, like I said, it's a cross section of the community. We have Michelle Boubert, who runs the.
Yeah, we saw that. It's a board member.
Yeah.
A regular, actually.
Yeah, well, she runs the chamber.
So it's now wrong.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, but she's
She runs the Chamber of Commerce for all of Curry County.
Yeah.
been on the show many times.
Yeah, wonderful lady. And Stacy Gunderson, who's with the Oregon Coast Visitors Association.
Okay. Good person to know.
Well, she's, where Michelle is really like kind of our point person to interface with the businesses in Brookings. Stacy really helps us with the various organizations across the state that can support public art, be it, grant opportunities or trying to understand how other cities have accomplished the things that they've done. And we have Mary Stanford, who was at the time,
Rings a bell.
yeah, she was the president at the Manly Art Center.
Okay.
And she's also an artist. So she's like our interface to the artist community.
World, yeah.
And of course, Tim Rundel, who's a fantastic
City
resource
manager.
and city manager. So, he can help us bring in the city resources, be it helping with funding or, staff resources. When we get to the nuts and bolts of, receiving something, installing something, we're going to need city staff help. So he's going to help us kind of maneuver the city working.
So when was it founded? When did you get together and say, I'm going to be the champion or I'm going to champion this?
when that first meeting happened, I think, so Tim, you've been here a little over 2 years now.
Yeah, right at 2 years.
So I would say it was almost 3 years ago that I first had that conversation with the city council.
So you are not the champion. What is your role?
Chairperson.
You're the chairperson, and
Chairperson,
Tim,
yeah.
you're the co-chair, or
No, I'm just one of the committee members.
you're the committee?
But it's not like run like a board of directors. Is this?
No, it's a collaborative.
It's a collaborative.
Yeah, a
That's
little
right.
more informal. So
like it. Yeah.
if it was a committee, a formal city committee, that comes with a lot of formality. We need to have the city council needs to appoint people. We need to have public meetings,
Right.
and a lot of the formality. So we're just citizens that are doing some of the legwork with the city. And so that's where the collaboration comes in. That's why it's a collaborative. So we don't take donations. We're not a 501c. However, the city, can facilitate the funding. So for donations and the writing of checks, that's all going to go through the city.
Okay. Cool.
Are you guys not paid then? Or
Oh gosh, no.
is it all volunteer?
Yeah, no. We just no.
Oh,
no.
wow.
So
Okay.
Does it have a mission statement?
Yeah,
Like,
what's-
is that a long mission statement? Or?
well, no. But I mean, basically, the mission is to bring public art to Brookings in ways that strengthen community identity, invite participation, and make our public spaces more engaging.
Yeah. Hey, Tim, what inspired you? You just heard Ron talking about this and kind of got inspired by it, and then said, "Hey, I'd like to help out." Or
Yes, I think it was one of my first council meetings. I met Ron, and he was really excited about this collaborative and doing some stuff. And a few of the cities that I've worked at, we had a very strong public art presence within the community, and I feel very strongly about public art.
right on.
I tell people all the time, like, if you name one of your favorite cities that you love to go visit, do they have a strong public art presence there? And a lot of them do.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to go spend a vacation or go visit somewhere where it's just very bland and dull. And
Right.
but yeah, a couple of the cities I've worked at had very strong presence in public art, which is really nice. One city in particular, we had it was kind of an interesting mix. It was Midwest City, Oklahoma, and it's right across the highway from Tinker Air Force Base. So we were actually able to get some retired military aircraft as pieces of public art.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
And, jets and these things around town. And then the other thing we did was kind of an interesting thing. The founder, Bill Atkinson of Midwest City, he founded the city back in the early 40s. Once he found out that there was going to be a base built across the street, he went up and gobbled up all the land across to build houses because he knew that these servicemen and women were going to need places to live. So he started building houses everywhere. Well, Bill, who ended up running for governor, almost got won the governor's race at some point, I think back in the 60s. But Bill had an interesting angle. You would go look at some of these, small houses, little, 900,000 square foot houses on a quarter-acre lot or whatever back then. And mom and dad, a lot of these people got finished with the war and, the 50s, and they're starting to, think about home and everything else. And if they had kids, Bill would tell the kids, hey, if your mom and dad buy this home, you get a free Shetland pony. And so what a hook.
Okay.
So
I want a pony.
So Bill, there were hundreds of these Shetland ponies all over town.
Oh, that was real.
Yeah, it was real. You would get a pony to put in your backyard. So
goodness.
at some
They're
point,
tiny. They're
the little ones.
Yeah.
And at some point, somebody said, we were talking about public art projects, and they said, wouldn't it be neat if we had several of these like Shetland pony statues around town, and we went out and had various artists commission them to paint them. And that's exactly what we did. We went out and found various artists, and they had to submit, the renderings of what they wanted to paint on the horse. So it was able to, I think Ron had mentioned earlier, to talk a little bit about the history and the culture of the community via these statues around town. These statues were made out of fiberglass.
Well, this is kind of a trendy thing now. You go, it might
is.
be an octopus. Every town has one, or a cow. You
Yeah.
go drive through these, and they
like-
dress them up.
They dress them all up in it. Yeah, and
that's very
Oklahoma
cool.
City, which is our neighbors there in Midwest City, Oklahoma City, did buffaloes. So they had buffaloes
yeah.
all over the city of Oklahoma City, which is about 600 square miles, and you would see these buffalo statues, in
Right.
pretty prominent
Well.
locations, and then another town I cut my teeth was called Yukon, Oklahoma, and Yukon had a pretty strong presence in
University of Connecticut.
No,
Oh,
different
darn it.
Yukon. Different Yukon, not the gold one either. We were just outside of Oklahoma City as well, and we did longhorn steers
Okay.
because it was the Chisholm Trail ran through our community.
Oh, cool.
So we did these longhorns all over town and painted them. So anyway, but it wasn't just that. We also, commissioned murals and other things out there as well. So
Yeah, so you have done that before, so that was nice when Ron came up. And did you have you seen that before, or did you have the idea and just jammed
Yeah,
it in there?
or put it another way, have you ever done this kind of work before, Ron?
I have not. I have
Oh, wow.
definitely have
Nice.
appreciated such work, but no, this is entirely new to me.
Very cool.
But I did get a lot of encouragement, and one of the things that initially inspired me was the sculpture at the top of Chetco Point.
I
Yeah.
was just going to ask you.
The two rivers and the heart of the ocean.
Yeah.
And I used to go up there a lot with my dogs. Now I go to the dog park more than anything, but halfway there. But then at the top, and for those listeners that haven't been to Chetco Point, that's really like the gem of Brookings. I think that is the most beautiful spot we have. So you got to go.
Right.
And there's a beautiful sculpture there now. And it's been there for, I guess, a couple years now.
That was by Lee Proctor.
Lee Proctor, yeah. And there's a gentleman that lives in town named Rob Decker. And I didn't realize that he had anything to do with it at first. But I know Rob, and I was talking to a friend about this really cool sculpture up there, and how it'd be cool if we had more of that sort of thing around town.
Yeah, we
and
agree.
he said, "Oh, that's the thing Rob did." And Rob Decker? Yeah, you should talk to him. So I did, and I got introduced to the artist and started kind of doing a deep dive on how do you make public art, happen.
So what did Rob do? Rob Decker do?
Well, Rob, he initially envisioned this piece.
Oh.
And he is friends with Lee Proctor.
I
So
see.
together they came up with this concept. And he knew he didn't have a place for it. He knew he wanted it in town. And they built it and then started working on a location and really struggled. But eventually they ended up talking to the right person, Jay Troust, who was with...
We moved into Jay Troust's home.
Oh,
Yeah, right above Mill Beach.
cool. Great guy. He was with Parks, and I think he was on the Park and Recreation Committee at the time. And he said, hey, I've got the perfect spot. And that's why it's there.
Wow.
We're small.
So we were there. When we were there, I thought there was glass in there
There is.
but that was destroyed. Is it still there? Did somebody knock something out? I mean, a while back.
I think
No?
we've been there
No.
for 5 years.
Yeah.
About 5
No,
years.
well, so there's the two rivers are the pieces that are on the side of the piece, and there's hand-blown glass of
Yeah.
those. And at the very top of the centerpiece, it's almost like an eye.
Yeah.
People see different things. I see a fish.
Yeah.
I
see a
see a
fish.
fish and a fish eye, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me
beautiful.
step in right here because time flies when we're having fun. It's already that mid-break time here on the Doc and Jacques Radio Show, proudly broadcasting from KCIW 100.7 FM in lovely coastal Brookings, Oregon. The list of major sponsors for your community radio station are Advanced Airlines, to fly in and out of nearby Crescent City to Oakland and LA 7 days a week. Michelle Ramos, who we've been speaking with, a big part of our community, with our own vibrant local Curry County Chamber of Commerce. Nick and Lisa Rail, big shout out to you and your PPA, or your partnership for the performing arts. Thanks to you. Then there is, who Gigi is, amongst other things, she is a doctor, you're the hospice doctor, and the hospice, which is known as Coastal Home Health and Hospice. It serves NorCal and Southern Oregon. So we're very happy to have Coastal Home Health and Hospice aboard. Thank you so much. And lastly, my dear co-host, Dr. Gigi Reed, and yours truly, Jacques, on behalf of KCIW, thanks to all of you. Okay, we had to get through that, but where were we? You were describing what that sculpture looks like.
Yeah, I was. And then I talked to the artist at length a few times, and actually have him involved in to this day. So we continue to talk now and then. So, but that was I guess the point is that was kind of the initial inspiration.
Okay, do you have a favorite? Would you prefer to sculptures or murals or both? You just love any of that?
Well, I think the medium is kind of secondary. The intention for me is kind of the primary objective.
Here, good, well said.
And my intention is kind of a multifaceted. I've had more than one person say, where do you live again? Oh, I think I drove through your town. And I say, if you went up the 101 from California into Oregon, yes, you drove through my town.
Right.
Oh, really? So is it where? So I want to share, what our identity is, what we value, kind of what the feel is here, and so on. And also, before we moved here, we started coming up somewhat frequently, and I was working at the time, and so I had a limited number of days. So my wife and I, we would just kind of do we'd call like a cannonball run, 14 hours driving to get here. And when I would get over the Chetco Bridge, as I'm coming into town, I just had this feeling coming over me like, I made it, we're here. And just, there's a vibe here. And I want to share that feeling. I want people to feel like, yes, I'm here in Brookings. What a great place. So, and for people that live here, I want them to like kind of feel a connection with the space. And, we have some really wonderful places to be, but nothing really drawing you to any particular place. And so my first objective, kind of the inaugural effort here is a sculpture. And it will be right at the Botanical Gardens, right on the 101, just off the sidewalk in the Botanical Gardens. So
just over the bridge.
When you're driving north and you're coming over the bridge, it's really just kind of framed by the bridge. You're looking right at it.
Yep.
So
there's
it's
a
kind of
stoplight there.
Yeah, and we're going to kind of expand from there. And we want to have some kind of continuity and a theme, throughout, whether it's sculptures or murals or other things that I'll share. So, we came up with this theme, and the theme is the gateway to the Pacific Northwest.
Cool.
This is kind of like where it all begins. And, it just gets more and more beautiful.
So there's going to be a sculpture there. Are you privy to know what the sculpture is already?
Well, so where we're at now is, with this theme, we did what's called a call to artists. Mm-hmm. So we kind of describe what it is we're looking for.
When did you start doing that?
Well, the call to artists was posted just a few weeks ago.
Oh, it's new? Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, we wanted to wait till we actually have a budget,
okay.
So it's like real,
Let me step in here real quickly. Tim, that is public owned, that is owned by Brookings, the city of Brookings, that park, the Botanical Park, is it?
No. That group is a separate 501c3 that leased it from ODOT.
Have we had them on the show? I think we have.
Yeah, Sharon
Johnson.
Johnson
is the president of Botanical Garden.
I met with her today on a few things. She has some ideas and concepts that she would like to.
Wonderful stuff.
How about Chetco Point? That's city owned.
That's city owned. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's one of the that is an award-winning park, city park.
Yeah.
In fact, every time I have friends or family that come to visit, Chetco Point is one of the very first places I take them because I want them to be like, wow. I want that first impression, like Ron talks about coming over the bridge, that first impression of coming into Brookings to be, boom, that Chetco Point where they just like, and I mean, everybody that
breathtaking.
I've had my son, my youngest son has come out here and he was like, well, this is incredible. I had my goddaughter and her two daughters with them come out and were very, impressed. And And so it's just one of those things where I think, like, Ron, you want that really good first impression when you come into a community. And that's why I said kind of jokingly earlier, I mean, do you like going into a city that's got beautiful public art, or do you like to go to a city that's just very bland and drab and not really pleasing to the eye? Right. And I know a lot of people also believe, it's amazing about, the different value we put on to certain things too. And a lot of people think, you just get some volunteers and a couple buckets of paint and you slap together a mural or whatever. I was like, no, that's not how it works. And if you really want it, another city that I worked at in Auburn, California. I've been all over the place.
Auburn, okay. Auburn is up near
Sacramento.
Yeah, right. I'm thinking
between Tahoe and Sacramento.
There's a little town next to it. There's a lake there, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so Auburn.
Auburn, we had a very strong arts commission there, and they took on some projects.
There's the gold miners, that big statue. Yes.
Oh yeah. The big. Yeah, he's panning.
Yeah, he's panning.
Yep. I went and panned one day. It's way overrated. My back was hurting.
Your back still hurts.
It still hurts.
I gotta cut in. But when you had the call to artists,
Mm-hmm.
so just 2 weeks ago?
About 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
And how many respondents have you had?
We've had a handful. I got about half a dozen. And in this call to artists, we kind of describe this theme of, gateway to the Pacific Northwest, but we tell the artists to, have kind of a broad interpretation of gateway. That could be literal, symbolic, abstract, but, also consider like all the things that the Pacific Northwest has to offer. We've got coastal ocean landscapes, the forests, the mountains, wildlife and weather and history and so on. And so it's kind of amazing. And when you put something on the internet and ask for some responses, it can be seen all over the world, of course. So we have gotten some responses from this region, and we also have a response all the way from London.
Oh, wow.
And, some of the stuff is kind of, I'll share with you. There's, art that artists, this is their thing. This is what they do. And sure, you've got a gig and I'm interested.
I'm holding the paper right here. Here's the...
Yeah. So there's some, you see, some glass blocks, arch. They're, kind of multicolored. They're kind of cool.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
Another thing, this is
very colorful, most of it.
Yeah. There's some big, like kind of cartoony, colorful, bright, colorful things.
Yeah.
And all that's, great. And you see the Native American pieces there also in one of those responses. And that's actually from Lee Proctor.
Yeah, I saw that. I just pointed that.
And so he has these two young Native Americans that are learning how to fly from a swan. So there's really cute. Like three pieces, and in this big pedestal that's kind of.
It's going to be right there on that corner, right where the.
Well, one of these or another, will be. But I want to share another one that I just got yesterday. This is the one from London.
So how long will you have that call open? You can start
just through the month.
Oh, through the month.
So this piece that Jacques is looking at, is very tall, metal pieces that look almost like a giant seaweed, but in the middle is like a stainless steel, almost like wind, But really, one of my favorites is this guy Diego Harris. He's from Northern California, and he has pieces all up and down the coast. And I was driving a couple of weeks. It is beautiful, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weeks ago, I was driving through Florence, and I saw one of Diego's pieces, and I pulled over. I said, I've got to take a look at this. And great guy. I talked to him, and very prolific.
Cute.
And he said, I'm familiar with the area, and I get what you're looking for. And I shared the call to artists with him, and so he drew up this really two pieces. Yeah, and he drew up this piece that he calls the Chetko effect, and that's about 12 feet tall. There's about a 7-foot gap In the middle, you can, like, two people can stand in there.
Yeah,
and
like
take
an
a
arch
picture.
with a little squiggly hair coming up.
Yeah, well, I see sun rays coming out of the top,
Yeah.
and I see these
Nice.
these
I like
swirls
that,
as
yeah.
like the wind.
So who will make the decision?
Well, so what we're going to do is kind of narrow it down for the city council, and
Then they get
and bring maybe 2 or 3 different examples to them to select from, and let them make the final.
So are you, being the city manager, Tim, you are going to be tasked with this, helping choose whose work and who pays for these? These sculptures can't be cheap.
No. We the city this year we budgeted right at $100,000, not for just one sculpture. Let's just put this out there. It's not just for one sculpture, but for this kind of kickstarting the public art process here in Brookings.
Cool.
And the funding comes from our urban renewal agency.
Is that a grant?
It's what it is. The Urban Renewal Agency's been very strong here in Brookings for a long time. It's a very complicated thing involving property taxes. Essentially, the Urban Renewal Authority or agency rather comes up with an area, and it doesn't affect the taxpayers at all, but it kind of freezes the current assessments and the taxes that are being paid at that particular point. And then as everybody's does, your tax bill goes up incrementally each year.
Yeah.
That additional money is put into this agency, and they utilize these funds. So I think this fund has been going on, I think, around 18 years now. And a lot of the things that you see in downtown, they've been able to do. The little pocket park that you see by the Wicked Pig in the theater, that was a part.
Yes, right.
That was part of an urban renewal.
Right above us here in the studio. We're
absolutely.
right below that. Yeah.
And there's been a lot of small projects that have been done through the Urban Renewal Agency as well. But we
a lot of the facade improvements.
Yeah, we have a facade improvement program.
Okay, so those would be the murals then.
No, the facades are it could be, but the facades are primarily businesses.
Oh, I see.
Improving the front,
Okay.
awnings, painting windows, the facade of the front of the building.
Okay.
One of the things I think we really need to take a look at is murals here. Finding some local.
And we have some murals.
We don't have
like
many,
right.
though. Crescent City has a bunch of them.
Yeah, well, we
right.
have at least 2. The wave on the.
That was done by Spencer, right?
Still a
on his
mural.
building, yeah.
On his
We're
own
talking
building.
murals.
Yeah.
So and that's what part of the process is, finding some of the building owners here
Yeah.
and getting with them. And being able to, get approval. And
Yeah.
then the big thing is to commission the artist to be able to do that. I'm a firm believer. A lot of people think, we have artists. They'll just volunteer all their time. And but these people,
Right.
they're artists for a living, like Diego and some of these other folks. This is their livelihood. And to just ask an artist, hey, would you mind spending 100 hours building this sculpture?
So how do people get to the criteria, what you're looking for?
Well, you can go ahead and explain that.
Sure.
For the murals and for the plastics, So
Yeah.
where would one find those too? I mean, at the city council website or?
The criteria that
criteria.
you've sent out, because we did read it quickly, that email that you gave us. And I remember one of the things was that you have had to have some prior
Yeah.
Right.
sculpture.
Right. Yeah, these are all going to be experienced artists in public art that have interacted with cities and created work for cities or other in other public spaces. So there's got to be artistic excellence, originality.
Proven.
It has to be relevant to our theme. There has to be technical feasibility. It has to be something that's going to withstand our weather.
Yeah.
Big one there.
So demonstrated experience. In
Right. So why
large
is that so
scale.
important? We were wondering, we were talking about the criteria. Why is having proven other city thingies.
Well, we need to get this right, and especially this inaugural sculpture.
Yeah.
It needs to be done.
Oh, this is
well.
mainly for the inaugural one?
Well, they're all going to have a similar criteria,
Yeah.
So we're not, these funds are hard to come by, and we want to, spend them wisely. And so, we're going to only work with experienced
So if you like
artists.
some of these submissions that you're seeing now, then the next step is to reach out and then say, the next step, say, how much are we talking about here? What would you do this for?
Well, we're giving them the budget. We're kind of defining the budget. But yes, in their response, they kind of come back with what the costs are and a breakdown of what it is in materials, labor, engineering,
Oh, cool.
travel, delivering pieces.
I guess
et
it's got to
cetera.
meet the standards of the city, right, Tim?
Yeah. Like Ron said, the final approval will be through the council or the urban renewal.
Okay, so
agency.
even though it's not going to be, for instance, the little pocket, the botanical garden, that is not owned by the city, but you're willing to invest in a sculpture for.
Yeah,
So-
and because that is owned by ODOT. That park is owned by ODOT,
Oh,
and
okay.
they lease it to the
all
botanical
right,
gardens,
got it.
like for
So it's an
$1 a year or something like that. And so we would have to come into some sort of agreement with them, which they pretty much verbally have said, yeah, we wouldn't mind having something like that right there when people come in, because it will also. As I was saying earlier, I was talking to Sharon earlier. It was something that can also bring more visitors to the botanical gardens as well,
Right.
because they have some things that they would like to accomplish, and anything that could help spur some more creativity or spur some folks with the botanical gardens. It's a win-win for them.
Is there Azalea Park? I'm trying to think. Is there sculpture there? I know there's sculptured walkways.
Well, the big
There-
Capella.
The Capella.
Oh, the Capella. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also a couple of pieces there, kind of in the.
Oh yeah, up
gardens
there. I'm further up north by there's like this family,
if
these
you
people.
right, if you park by the really small parking
Yeah.
lot and walk in and make a left, there's.
Oh, and is there somebody sitting on a bench too? Is that a sculpture of some person sitting
There's
on?
something.
think so.
There's,
Yeah.
But Azalea Park is great, but I think what Ron is trying to accomplish here is that first impression when people, like I said, they come over the bridge.
Which right below it is botanical.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So it would be a natural.
As soon as they come up, start coming up that hill,
See something
they'll
else.
see this really beautiful piece. And I think that's what we're trying to do is have
Yeah,
something
such a good
that's
spot.
impactful. When
So I'm
you have
always
people come
surprised going through Brookings, seeing that bear. The football bear. Is that's a sculpture.
in. That was I found out a little bit of the history on that. That was through the Evergreen Bank out of Grants Pass. Originally, they had their deal is in Grants Pass. I guess Evergreen had sponsored and had several of these bears commissioned and painted around Grants Pass, and they brought them here for a short time, and then I think it's on loan. I don't think they gave it to the city, but
Okay.
That's right.
but it's
about the bear.
the bear, the football bear, the Bruins bear. But that's kind of in the theme, like I talked about earlier, with the ponies and the buffaloes. Those seem to be very popular too, where they have these sculptures. Yeah, they're fiberglass, but and they put them out, but they commission artists to paint them with various things.
Well, people think they're an extension of Cal Berkeley.
Yeah.
I mean, when they see the Bruin there.
Oh, the Bruin,
Yeah.
right.
There
Yeah,
you
so that's, like I said, that's kind of what I think this first piece is essential, coming, like I said, into our community and, the gateway to the Pacific Northwest. And I mean, what a great thing. I mean, Brookings is the first city, incorporated city, when you come across the border on 101.
And it starts with the inaugural piece, but really we're talking about that's kind of one project, but there's a bigger program here, and this is just really the starting place. It's kind of a launching platform. Once we have that and we've kind of
Get the ball rolling.
Yeah, get the ball rolling. We kind of learn what there is to learn. There will be a follow-up piece. There will be murals. There will be other mediums as well, kind of along the lines of ponies and buffalo. We have about 5 intersection signal control boxes that are just kind of utilitarian.
Oh, yeah. There's
And those can be wrapped with art, so that's also kind of on the radar as well. So, and with that, we can find local artists and use existing pieces and do kind of vinyl wraps, or have artists paint
How about the fountain in front of grocery outlet? Is that city property?
That's a city property.
them.
Yes.
City.
That is a pretty cool fountain. Yeah.
Yeah, it could use a refresh.
I agree.
It could,
But
definitely.
but here's the thing: is when I talk to people about this effort, they say, "Oh, what about fill in the blank? What about totem poles? Let's do totem poles." Well, okay, wait. How about bumper stickers? Let's just do. Well, I'm trying to do this sculpture, and that'll be kind of a starting
We're getting
place.
ahead of you. Yeah.
And when we want to stay focused, because it's a really big
And
effort.
that's the spot. That is the spot.
So
That's the sweet-
we
What do you
talk-
like best? What do you like best of doing all this, getting all immersed into this?
Well, I think the best is yet to come.
there you go.
In that this is all the work. We're putting in the work. Right now. So there was a lot of work up front to get to this point.
Yeah.
And I would say, we're at the point now where I'm trying to get a little more public engagement. I don't want people to be surprised that what's this thing all of a sudden showing up.
Sure.
Because that's kind of a starting place for I don't like it. I didn't know it was coming.
That's right. There's
it's
always
not
going to
my
be the people
thing.
who say,
And so I want everyone to know, this is something we're working on, what our intentions are, and feel kind of like, there's some ownership.
you're
here.
vetting it out.
That's where we're at now. Once we have an artist selected and we get this purchased and installed and have a ribbon cutting and invite the city, that's the part I'm going to like best. So that's when I could have a sigh of relief and say we did it.
Sculpture one down, right?
One down, and now what's the next mission here? Our next project to keep the
What a
momentum.
great thing, and it keeps everybody on their toes.
So you guys are collaborating, which is fantastic, but it's not a but it's not a unit. So how do you present yourself? I mean, it's your coalition. I mean, do you have a meeting place? Do you have an office? How do you
No, this
you
is
doing,
just
right?
a group of volunteers. That's
Okay,
all
I
it
was
is.
going to say, how many
So how
are you
do-
looking for more volunteers all the time?
Oh no, we're
No?
we don't need more people. We need more funding. Of course, and so I have a GoFundMe. I mean, we've actually raised over $10,000
Nice.
from the community, myself, friends, and family, mostly.
Sure.
But the more funds we can raise, the more public art we can create. We can't fully, just rely on the urban renewal and the city coffers. So, if people do want to donate, they can donate to the city and specify
Right, goes to the
this is
city,
for
right?
public art,
Yeah.
and it is tax deductible.
Yeah.
So they can walk into City Hall and write a check and just tell them, write in the notes, this is for public art, and that can be tax
For
deductible.
BPAC. For BPAC.
No, it's not for BPAC.
Okay, sorry.
It's not for the collaborative. It is for Brookings
Art.
Public Art.
Collaborative.
Well, it's not. It's not.
I'm stuck up.
You're not writing a check to our organization, our quote unquote collaborative. You're writing a check to the city,
Which will
and you're just specifying, I want this money spent on public art.
Yeah.
There you go.
So how do people find out more? Are you on the website? Do you have a website? Do you have Facebook? Are you Twitter? What do you have?
Well, I have email, brookingspublicart@gmail.com.
Well, hey, that's good.
Okay, that's an easy
Brookings Public Art as one word, one long word, @gmail.
Okay.
And I will be making more radio appearances. I will be getting with the pilot and talking to them as well. Yeah. And more to come, more public outreach.
There you go.
This
Who's your editor?
Nate, but they're not here. They're the pilot is not local anymore, so
Yeah,
they're
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah. We're problem solvers.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
And so, where do you see yourself a couple of years from now? Champions of this, with our first one down and looking.
I mean, I see in maybe 6 months at a ribbon cutting ceremony.
nice.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Maybe 8. 5 years from now, hopefully there'll be like, ribbon cutting number 10.
Right.
Something.
There you go.
Well, Tim.
That's and it's a lofty goal, but it's one that is doable as well. And the great thing about this collaborative that Ron has kind of speared and headed up is, like I say, he definitely has a passion for this because he wants to, leave an impact here in this community. And Ron and I are outsiders. A lot of people think I'm from California. I know I'm a dumb Okie,
But you're cool like a Californian.
You're cool.
Coming from somebody from Hollywood, that's pretty nice compliment. So, but that's something that I think is good, because I'm sure Ron at some point is gonna, hang up his saddle and at some point maybe hand it off, and the next person. So we want to keep that energy going. Yeah. And because we want it to be there. And like Ron said, we know that, once we decide on commissioning and the piece, there's going to be naysayers and people that are not, they're going to be, there's a lot of people that aren't happy with everything.
Sure.
And but I think this is something where we have to start somewhere.
Yep, you're doing it.
And I think this is a great example of bringing a group together, finding the funding. We've also applied for some grants,
sure.
Which are very difficult to get, as Ron's
As we know, we're with this community radio station.
Yeah.
We live on grants.
So grants are difficult and hard to come by, especially for public art.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of other folks that are giving out money for other things. But I feel like, public art is so vital to a community.
Amen.
Because it brings up the culture, the history, all the great things about the community, and allows people to kind of almost get like a history lesson at some points as well.
And you have seen it work many times over.
Yeah, I've seen it work. Like you was talking about the utility box. We had those in Auburn.
Right.
Huge hit. Yeah. I mean, a huge hit there. As soon as they started doing those, at first there were people, what? We're going to paint, utility, electrical boxes. Yeah, we're going to, because they're ugly. Like you said, they're just sitting there all gray and ugly, and let's throw some color on it.
Right.
And
there it is.
And there it is. Yeah.
You can find out more by going to brookingspublicart@gmail.com or sending an email, and Ron will answer it. Gentlemen, we're out of time, but we really appreciate both of you coming on. See, it was a fast show, and we know it's a good show when it's a fast show. It's boom. We're just all of a sudden at the end of the hour. So appreciate both Ron and Tim for coming in today, and the best of luck to we'll keep you. We'll keep our eyes on you. Maybe in 6 months, come back on.
Well, ribbon cutting.
We want to go to the ribbon cutting.
You're invited.
Cupcakes. All right. Thank you. All right, Doc, what time is it?
It's fun time corner.
Okay, we got to only give a couple of your quick quotes.
Whatever you do, always give 100%, unless you are donating blood.
Oh, that's back to blood. I like blood is really warm. It's like drinking hot chocolate, but with a lot more screaming.
Blood is one of the driving forces that turns the wheels of history.
That one is pretty darn good.
Right?
Yeah.
Pretty
I like
deep.
it. Give us another one. I'm looking for some jokes.
We're all linked by blood, and blood speaks a universal language.
Oh, okay. How do you know your doctor is a fake? Because they have good handwriting. Food has never made me fat, but scales sure do.
That's right.
Darn right. Okay. Any more of the...
Every drop of human blood contains a history book written in the language of our genes.
Really? Yeah, that's a good one. Right? Any more?
Nope.
Are you out?
Yeah.
After a month of dieting, folks, I've lost 30 days. I know it's 3 meals a day, doctor, but how many should I have at night? Because diets are for people that are just thick and tired of it.
Can't do the dinny, what was it, skunky dunking?
Oh, yeah. I never skinny dip. I chunky dunk. All right, a successful diet is a triumph of mind over matter. I don't know how I got into the diet jokes.
Okay, we're done joking.
We're done.
Thank you, Ron and Tim, for coming, joining
thank you
us.
Again.
Thanks for having us.
Everybody else, you have been listening to Doc and Jacques on KCIW 100.7 FM in Brookings, Oregon. We hope you enjoyed our show as much as we have learning from Ron Schnearson and Tim Rundel about Brookings Public Art Collaborative.
Yeah, indeed. Peace and prosperity to everyone out there. Special thanks again to our engineers, Ray Simon and Tony Stoddard in there, and all the rest of us. If you know of an interesting person that might join the show, reach out to us at docandjacques@gmail.com.